Imagine, there you are, standing at the edge of the car door as your 18-year-old daughter loads her last items into the trunk. She is headed off onto her next adventure, moving to the big city to attend her dream school. You say your bittersweet goodbyes with tears welling in your eyes. You are delighted for this new season in her life, but you're also concerned. Will she make it? Will she be happy? Will she be safe? The first few months go swimmingly. She makes new friends and falls in love with her classes. Your heart starts to settle as she shares about how comfortable she is in her new life. Then the unthinkable happens. Walking home from her evening work shift, she is brutally attacked. Now let's pause here and consider, if you could go back in time knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently? How as a parent would you have protected her? Would you have convinced her to stay home and never venture into the great wide world? Would you have demanded she never be alone and always be back at her apartment before dark? Would you have required her to take self-defense classes and purchase self-defense items? What if the state where she lived forbade her from purchasing the equipment she needed to effectively protect herself? Would you consider that state to be one that cared for your daughter? Probably not. Unfortunately, Colorado is quickly becoming one such state as it limits the ability of its citizens to acquire and use firearms. Firearms are a touchy subject in the church, and I get it. No one wants to see anyone else harmed, and firearms can be used to harm people. How can we say that we love our neighbor if we advocate for people to own items that can cause harm? It's a fair question, and one we don't have time to fully answer here. However, it bears noting, firearms are not the only item that can be used to cause harm. Think about it. Abel was killed with a rock. Moreover, firearms are not only used to harm people, they're also used to protect people. In fact, research tells us that firearms are used exponentially more times each year to protect people than to harm them. Throughout the entire United States in 2021, 20,958 people were murdered by assailants who used a firearm. Compare that to the lowball estimate of 500,000 times each year where a firearm was merely brandished by a would-be victim to deter a criminal from causing harm. Do we disarm the law-abiding and make even more victims? How does removing protective arms from the hands of the vulnerable advance the commands of God to defend the widow and the orphan? As the body of Christ, we must grapple with these questions, and we must help our state do the same thing. Your daughter's life may very well depend on it.